tell us why you
Cindy
think
was
heads
Cindy
will roll, why you think no heads
explained
will
why she
roll.
said it.
All right, let's grab a call. Good morning.
Morning, Wendell, Richard, Paul. Steve, morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Um, concerning the traffic light
Don't look, Richard.
accidents, right? Wendell?
Yeah, move away from your radio, Mr. Patrick.
All right, sir. Yeah, concerning the traffic light and the accidents and them. I wonder sometimes if people have brake failure, boy. Brake failure. That you can just fly across the road just so. Or if you have some kind of medical issue according to how you name, because I remember they be walking on the highway and this guy just run across and
Well, I mean, we don't know. We can't say,
Yeah.
but I
No,
mean,
listen,
those kinds of things
the guy
can happen.
So the guy say how he didn't take the insulin this morning and something happened. So his son has came, I think he called his son, and his son come. So breaks and medical issues could create them thing in the body.
Yeah.
There's certainly medical issues, I'm sure.
Because you mash your brakes sometimes. You ever mash your brakes and you get a brake light?
No,
Or the pedal go right on?
no.
Well, you are driving long enough, boy. I mash brakes and pedal go right on my heart when the mouth is. These things will happen.
I don't doubt that it does.
One of my very first vehicles, when it was just a second-hand vehicle, that has happened to me, Mr. Patrick. And I had to actually use I had to actually use my hand brakes as the brakes.
Yeah, that has happened when
It sure was like the Flintstones
I
when they
never
put out
said
the
it
car.
does not. I never said it doesn't happen. You know. I just said it has never happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of them things you see people them flying across the road. It had to be some brakes problem. But with the children at church and them homes, we talking about that years now, why? Nurseries, senior citizen homes, and all these homes and them. Yes, we talking about that, and I don't know, in America, why they take all the children and they take you and all, and they go on, yes? It's serious out there.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be, well, when it comes to old senior citizens homes, well, God knows what kind of abuse could possibly be taking place there. Because I don't know if they do even a report on that one, because that's another vulnerable section, eh?
Yep.
Very much so. I just said that, yeah.
You remember when Mr. Como tried to make the thing look like it was so good and it was so wrong? With them senior citizens over there? It's the same thing. People doing things with senior citizens, boy, beating them, take with their money, all kind of thing, boy, in Trinidad, boy, nobody doing nothing about that, boy.
Yeah, I have no doubt that things like that happen.
All right.
All right, thanks, Mr. Patrick. All the best to you. Good morning.
Good morning.
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 I don't understand Mr. Patrick sometimes, you know. I mean, you're talking about a specific junction. All them vehicles can have brakes problem at that junction. There's some kind of visual imperfection there that people, absent-minded people, not seeing, people not, maybe you need to put a speed hump before the light. I don't know. But there's
Have you ever driven that intersection?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'm telling you, the visibility is very good.
It's good.
Yeah, the visibility is good, you know. I mean, it's just buildings on the northeastern side, really.
So
Well, the northern
what causes
side.
people not to see this whole big traffic light in front of their face that people just run through?
I don't know. You know what I think sometimes that, and I've said it before, that I think the traffic lights are too low.
Okay.
You know, and there's so many lights.
Like that. There's something that has to be not aesthetically correct.
Yeah.
That people just not paying attention. Don't see this thing and just pass through. There's some kind of thing that
But
traffic
even
management needs to examine as to what is the problem, what causing this.
let's look at the Mount Dore traffic lights on the PBR.
Right.
If you're heading eastbound, the left traffic light is blocked by trees, so you do not really see that light.
I always have a problem with that.
Yes.
No. You see trees.
Yes, and on the right side, where you have to, when you're heading eastbound, the traffic light on the right side is blocked by the other traffic light that's given the north-south intersection, the green and red. So if you're driving, you really don't see that. The Curep intersection is quite dim. because there's so many lights in that area. There's the maxi lights, there's various lights, it's low, there is a ton of pedestrian traffic, buses, maxis that stop right at the intersection itself and block the intersection.
Yeah.
You
I'd
know,
recommend
and
it.
that
I'd recommend
Kirep
it.
intersection is quite dangerous. The Quasi intersection. The Quasi, the lights are high. So you can see it. It goes across the highway.
That's what it
And
needs.
I had an experience. I had a driving experience heading east on the morning when the sun is coming up. Visibility is not the best when you're heading east on a morning. You understand?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that maybe have something to do with it, but definitely some kind of traffic intervention needs to happen there. Where first the matter in the with the young people.
Children.
This is the first time this has happened in Trinidad and Tobago. It's not the second time, it's probably the third time. And I don't know if people has faced consequences. It certainly hasn't been made public. But I always have a problem. I always talk about this. I just sit in my living room in Trinidad and know about what happens to people. What is the final outcome with cases in the United States? We know what happened to Derek Chauvin. We know what happened to all these people. But cases right here in Trinidad, all we just hear is up to where people get charged. Sometimes you might even hear that sometimes too. But that is it. After that, the media doesn't follow up on your sentencing. Sometimes,
caller, part of that is that they know the case is going to take a very long time.
Yes.
So it's like we
true.
will. So they will say like we'll rejoin this case about 4 years later and see where it's at.
True. That is true. The problem is, yes, if the media has to follow up, that they would be literally following it up for 20 years.
Yeah, so it's like
So,
okay.
so you're right. So because of the justice system, you can't get follow up. You can't get updates. You understand?
Yeah.
Thanks, caller. I think they should consider the overhead type traffic lights at that intersection of Mokoya and the PBR. Those lights are, I think, are more effective than the
I think
standard
that
lights.
is something they need to do across the board.
Yeah,
It is something you really need to do across the board.
yeah.
All right. Thanks, pal. Appreciate that. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sonny
Good.
San Fernando here.
Yes, Sonny. What's going on?
Yeah, is a lot of slackness happening, you know. People just driving crazy over the speed limit. Take, for instance, JB here, by the end of the highway. There are signs. Before this concrete barrier, there was the plastic one that they filled with water. People went through that and hit cars on the other side because a lot of people questioning why a roundabout. If you on the highway coming down, on the right hand side there is Gandhi Village. On the left hand side is the continuation of Gandhi Village that meets Debe Junction that can take you to Debe by the double triple or to Citrus Trace, and there you can go Penal, you could go San Francisco, wherever you want to go. So there has to be a roundabout there because you want the flow of the traffic to continue for the residents in Debe and Gandhi Village and so on. But when they had the plastic barriers, people went through them and hit cars on the other side of the roundabout. Now they put concrete barriers and they are painted yellow with reflectors on it. But as I told someone, a sleeping person will not see anything.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and you cannot be doing 140 at the end of the highway because before there's traffic that crops up around the roundabout. So it's amazing. I work on the road every day. That's my job. I'm leaving now to go to work. And today I'm working Saparia, Faizabad area. And the amount of bad drive, people want to turn into the road on the left, they will come in front of you, stop, and then turn in, instead of coming behind you to turn left. And it happens on the highway too. It's just madness. Everybody wants to reach there now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a certain level of there's a certain
Thank you, Sonny.
high level of discourtesy from Trinidad and Tobago drivers. Yes, I'm speaking to you all listening to this program. A lot of you all are discourteous. I see it every day.
Are you hearing me?
And it reflects, and discourtesy can only lead to bad driving.
Yeah.
It's the step up
Yes, caller.
or step down if you really want to talk about it. Probably step down is the better thing to say.
Yeah.
People don't like to give
you
you
talk.
Yeah, people don't like to allow you to pass. People are not gracious to people coming out of side streets. Even if you're in the middle of a traffic jam, this is the tell you how ridiculous Trinidad and Tobago drivers are. You're in the middle of a traffic jam, and even if you're merging onto Ryson Road, you're in a traffic jam, eh?
Uh-huh.
They refuse to let you pass.
Yes.
They will speed up
Yeah.
right behind the car in front of
Yeah.
them because they want to be one car space ahead of you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I see it all
Really?
the time. I experience it all the time.
I don't know. huh?
And you see, this is where I keep saying again that we have so many vehicles on the road at any given time, and there's not enough law enforcement putting a speed trap, having a roadblock. No, this is where the highway patrols or the transit police, which is pretty much non-existent, need to start policing, pulling people left. If they're driving slow on the right, pull to the left. Make it law to have seatbelts on in the back. Make it law to use the indicators.
Law, when you know more
But-
and more laws, is not always the answer, Steve.
No, it's not.
It is the.
But we also need
because
to inform and educate drivers.
maybe that's where you need to go, and maybe
You
that's
know?
when rather than a ticket, go to a drive ed class.
Yeah, Brenda Batson said they're going to put signs. When is that going to come?
Something like that, and learning about courtesy on the roads.
Yeah, that's...
Because the more discourteous you are, the more of a bad driver you are.
Yeah. Good morning.
People don't equate discourtesy with bad driving, but it is.
It is.
Good morning.
Morning, pal.
You're touching on a topic that is one of my personal peeves.
I need a pee for everybody.
Yes. Let me tell you something. You see, something as you at least you're talking about a T junction. At least you're talking about what would that be? A T junction where you have to the right road situation. You have to turn left. My greatest peeve is a cross intersection. I going straight across. I'm not taking up that one car length in front of you. But you rather block that intersection and stay in that traffic and stop me from going straight across. I'm not affecting you whatsoever.
Yep.
But your lack of driving skill and competence wouldn't allow you to stop before the intersection. Allow 10 cars to pass because nothing happening in front of you. Allow 10 cars, you could allow 30 cars to go across because the cars ain't going nowhere.
Yep.
And you would block the intersection and stop that 30 cars from running through yet. All of you must be at a standstill.
Yeah.
Because
Yep,
I don't know if you
yep,
don't
yep.
know. I don't know if you're inconsiderate, discourteous, you don't care, you're unconcerned. I don't know what it does be, but that is a particular peeve for me.
Yep.
Now, for the other caller that spoke about, we need roundabout. Roundabout is caveman thing, right? I hate to hear the conversation of when government and politicians talking about roundabout in 2020 and long before this. Right? We are at a stage in this country, we have too much vehicles on the road, we need to not be having a conversation about roundabout. We need to be talking about flyovers and bypass. Right by me here, by Price Mart in Chaguanas, there's a roundabout. In the night, you could make that drive from the Lizard, the way you call it, to the gas station in 5 minutes. 8 o'clock in the morning, that same drive will take you an hour and a half.
Yeah. I've been in that
Because
traffic
of
in that
how
roundabout. I've been in
Because
that
of
traffic in that
roundabout.
roundabout. That traffic is crazy.
Caller, I don't know about you, but I subscribe to roundabouts. I go to, and if you go to London, roundabouts are things that work. if people use
Yeah, but
it
let me
correctly.
explain it different. You're saying not you're being discourteous. How big is London roundabouts compared to Trinidad roundabout?
No, and I'm telling you, in some parts of London, they have some very small roundabouts, but it's a discipline problem we have here. You know, if people use,
I would agree with that.
use
I
the
would
roads
agree with that.
correctly. If people use the roads correctly, we won't have the problems that you're talking about.
You know one of the things I see people doing, and I had to correct a woman the other day for doing that. She come on the roundabout, she enter the roundabout on the left side.
And want to go on the right.
And then cross lanes on the right side to go on the other.
That, let me tell
That is
you,
what I'm talking about.
that happens all the
That is what I'm
time.
talking about.
The main roundabout I use daily is the Barataria roundabout. And I'm going to myself, don't they know what lane they want to go in? You're on the left, but you want to
think
go.
about where they're going in the
Exactly.
end to know where to put the self in the beginning. You have to think about where you're going at the after when you exit the roundabout.
Yes,
You
and that's
can't
what I tell you, the proper
enter the
use.
roundabout on the inside lane and then swerve off and pass the next lane to go on to come off. Come on!
Yeah.
And then they
That's the
cussing you.
problem. That's the problem right there. Roundabouts work.
You spoke about laws. The laws are there, you know. The problem is, and I made a video and put it up on social media one time. I have it on my social media page. The problem is, police have come down the road on the right lane. See you driving 60 on the right lane. Pull to the left, pass you and pull back to the right.
Yeah.
And not engage with you at all, not correct you, not educate you that you cannot be driving on the right lane at this speed so home arm.
Yeah.
You understand? Police and all don't spot infractions. There's a big part of the problem in Trinidad where they do not spot infractions. Me and my daughter had a challenge already. We going from Chaguanas to San Fernando. I said, I bet you I could spot 50 traffic infraction between here and San Fernando. She said, nah, bet. And by the time we reached Public Gasparillo, we had crossed 50. Right? And that was night time. Most of it, no tail light, no ID light, one tail light thing. But you don't see police in the night, you don't see traffic license officers in the night. So they wouldn't see these things to either ticket or educate people like, look, I just, as a driver, pull up next to people, hey, your tail light, your right tail light are working. Hey, your number plate lights are working. Because sometimes you doesn't know. But I, as a fellow driver, just tell people, hey, don't let a $2 bulb cost you a $2,000 ticket. You understand?
Yep.
But you don't find police educated people, sir, you cannot do this. This is our infraction. I put you can do me that already, you know. And I was grateful to him. I was driving slow on the path in. A bike police pulled me up. Oh, he said, I'm gonna give you a ticket for obstructing the free flow of traffic. Right? And it's because when I showed him, when I told him where I worked on what, he said, well, I will extend some professional courtesy to you, but I will let you off with a warning that this is in fact a ticketable offense.
It is.
And you could get a ticket for that. And I was educated.
The law is drive on your left, except when overtaking. A lot
Left.
of people feel once they go in the speed limit, they could stay on the right lane, you know.
A man tell me that already. Hey, one man tell me once already. Two different people. One man tell me once it have broken lines, he could dart in and out. He could swerve left and right through the traffic. Once it have broken lines, I'm like, okay, so you don't know what reckless driving, right? Another one told me once he within the speed limit, he could drive on the middle lane once he under the speed limit. So you see the problem of keep left? Once you have a lane on the right, he okay. That's what a lot of drivers feel. You have a lane on the right, so now that we have 3-lane highways, left is one off of the right. Not and traffic law says keep to the extreme left, huh? But they don't seem to remember that at all. They don't seem to, unless I was telling somebody that the other day. I firmly believe when you go for so I will support when you go to renew your license, you have to do over some kind of regulation or auto test.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
People like this,
You want to create more backlog in licensing officers than they already have?
When you see the kind of traffic infractions people just make, I don't really want us to enforce.
No, don't punish us that way. Don't punish us that way, please. let people who get a ticket, instead of paying if you want to not pay the $1,000 or not pay the $2,000 or get the merit points off.
What's a mandatory cost?
go on a mandatory course, and you get the demerit
Yeah.
points, or
Okay.
because it's
Yes.
stamped and it's sent to licensing, and they remove the demerit points and they remove the ticket.
Yes. Yes. One other thing I would just mention, I'm not taking a lot of time, but one other thing I just talk about that. I believe the point system has a flaw. They need to put in a clause, because when you get police a hammer, everything else seems to be nails, right? And unless you have that period where instead of giving me a ticket, you could give me a citation to fix an offense and come and show it affixed within a 7-day period or a 14-day period. So I have a broken tail light, I have a no horn, I have a thing, and it's automatic ticket. You understand? An automatic demerit points. Why we doesn't have some kind of humanitarian thing enshrined in the law? Because right now we just have tickets.
Well, it is in the law, because the police officers always have discretion.
No, you see that?
But the issue is whether they're exercising that discretion in those kind of circumstances you're talking
who
about.
they choose to exercise that discretion with.
Yeah.
Because me as a police, I could exercise it with nice looking women with nice titties outside, or I could enforce it with my race of people. So that discretion left the police. As I said, police need to be controlled by laws. Don't give them that discretion thing at all, because that could be seriously abused. All right, I know you have other callers and maybe trying to get in and take up
all
your
right.
time, so I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, morning again. You know, sometimes I watch on traffic lights. You ever going on the road and the traffic light reach amber and you decide to stop red, and when you look back in the mirror, you see men pelting coming behind you?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And they pelt out, they fly around you and go the way.
They fly around you and they corner.
I get that all the time.
I just say, boy, wait there. This man coming to mash up my father. Right? And what happened to a lot of people that rush traffic lights? Now rushing traffic lights. Sometimes they don't get stop when they rush it.
Yeah.
All drivers at some point have rushed a traffic light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
When you rush
All
traffic light,
drivers
you go
have
to
rushed a
that
traffic light. It's changing, including you, Mr. Patrick. At some
I
point,
think that's right.
you would have rushed a traffic light. It's turning amber and you're racing across.
Well, we had that talk about that sometime about somebody say, when you break the armor, you break your red light. Eh?
Well, I don't know that that's true, but what happens? I know what happens to that can cause accidents is that the light is now changing from green to amber, heading to red, and the car. What you have is two cars coming down the road, and they see you see a change in amber, and the decision is made, or at least the driver behind the driver in front assumes the driver is going for that amber and crossing.
Yeah.
Because the driver has indicated, because you know you can indicate what you're doing by how you drive.
Or if you're stopping.
And they're thinking that you're going to break, and then at the last minute that driver in front said, nah, I am breaking, I am cutting across the amber. And the person behind now is caught up. Sometimes it causes an accident, huh?
Yes.
Because the person is so close behind.
But you know,
Yeah.
it's
I'm always, from the time I am slowing for an amber, I'm always looking. You're right, Mr. Patrick. From the time I'm slowing for an amber, I'm always looking at the vehicles behind me. Because if they're pelting down the road, if I realize that they're going to pelt down the road, I may have to make the decision to cross the amber.
To go through, yes.
Yeah.
But you break the light now. You end up
But crossing
breaking
an
the light,
amber
right?
is not breaking the light.
Well, I hear big debate about that, yes, right?
Yeah, no, I'm told breaking the amber light, going through amber is breaking the light, eh?
Who says so?
I was told that by a police
No,
officer one time.
that can't be right.
No,
I don't know
was
that
told
that's true.
by a police officer.
I don't know that that's true. Is that in the law somewhere?
Hold on. I got an amber means
Is that in the law somewhere?
Hold on. Amber means stop, but proceed if you are unable to, which is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Which is really what we're talking about. So it's up to the
It doesn't. It means
determination of a
slow
police
and
officer.
proceed with caution, not stop.
Right.
Well, then,
So in
well,
other words,
then,
if it is going to prevent an accident, then you proceed.
Yeah, because that's why anytime I'm slowing on amber, I assume you all do that too. You look in your rearview mirror to see what's coming up behind you and to make sure they're slowing.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I do too. Hold on, Mr. Patrick.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Patrick.
Let me tell you how far it extends with me sometimes. Sometimes I am going down the road and I figure that light there, that green light ahead of me, is going to turn red. Because there's a timing. You get accustomed to certain lights and the timing.
Yeah, some lights you get to know.
Slow immediately. Because I figure by the time I reach it, it's going to turn red.
It's not going to, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. So I started to slow down one time.
Yeah. We have some calls. Good morning. Let's keep it short and sweet. Good morning.
Hey, Steve. Morning. I'm not going to say, let's keep it short. You know what is my thing, guys? At the end of the day, the caller before Mr. Patrick, he was like, he extends courtesy to a lot of callers too. If this not working, that not working. But guess what? Not everybody drives in a defensive mode in the sense of they drive for themselves. So you could want to come up on the side of them and try to indicate to them, like yesterday morning, I noticed a lady, her brake light, only one was working. But to get the attention of many drivers, because they drive for themselves and they have not done defensive driving courses, which enables you and reminds you, keep driving for others, keep looking at your mirrors, because somebody could be trying to signal something is going drastically wrong. And people are so selfish that I want to say selfish, they just don't know probably better, and they just drive and they just focus on the road. If they have somebody in their car, they're flapping, and they're not even watching all around. And this is what you're supposed to do. And sometimes you go behind the wheel, you are supposed to be constantly in that defensive mode. And that is what we learned from early, when I was 17, and you do your defensive driving, and that sticks with you. But a lot of people, guess what? They never did defensive driving, and I think that is so mandatory for people out here. Unless you are young and you had to go on your mother's car and you did that course, the average person, you get your license, you know to drive, you pass your test, you do regulation, and that's it. But that defensive course, I think you need to push that a little more. So that's my contribution.
All right.
Steve, let's call Adande now. He's agreed to take a call because Adande is one of our...
We kind of run up to 8.
we have the time, man. Adande is one of our traffic experts.
All right, I sent a call already. Good morning. I have lots of calls coming through. If Adande want to do it next hour. D, let's do it next hour. Good morning.
Good morning. That other caller brings about something, remind me something happened last week here. I come in from heading east, and by the Besser Street police station, I look in my rearview mirror, and I'm seeing a vehicle with the back bumper, right side, flying like a kite. I must have said, this driver had to know what's going on with him. I had to make a stop somewhere by court or whatever, so the car passed me, so I eventually end up behind the vehicle. I get the vehicle some light under the Grand Bazaar flyover. And I had to tell this woman, she pulled over to the left under the flyover there. I said, 4 women in the car. So she did pull over when I get them light. I said, are you aware that your back right bumper flying like a kite? She said no. And the only way, and this woman, that last caller reminded me, the only way this woman could not have known that is she didn't use her rearview mirror from Besser Street Police Station to Grand Bazaar. She could have never used her right rearview mirror and not see her back bumper. It was all out the way, 2 feet out the way, bending and flexing to fly off. So it means that she as a female driver didn't use her right rearview mirror for all that distance. It's part of the problem with drivers in Trinidad and people.
Mm-hmm.
She could have never been using her mirrors and not seen that. You understand?
Right. Yeah, okay.
All right then.
Yeah. We will speak to Adande Piggott in the next hour, who will clear up some of these issues that we.
Good morning, gentlemen. I just want to touch on 2 issues. The first thing with pertaining to the accidents and driving. No matter what signage and thing you put there, it does not prevent the individual from accepting personal responsibility. And especially with a vehicle, every time you step in a vehicle, every increase in speed, there's an increase in risk involved. What's happening regularly is a person ignoring the basics in terms of checking your vehicles, in terms of the safety, the tires, etc. Mm-hmm. And then people drive unconsciously. So they end up focusing on stuff instead of focusing on the road, and not recognizing that the responsibility in terms of safety not only lies upon themselves, but to the fellow drivers and who are also occupying that space too. All right? And the second part, I would like to, I noticed that you all made reference to the FUL and the inquiries into 2 officers that apparently were taken into custody for questioning. But something stand out there in terms of the response on the ex-commissioner of police when he make reference to say that this investigation in 18 months. And I can't recall this investigation started under his purview. And what is even more compelling is that the Stanley John report only came out in January of this year. Right? And if it is that you could recall, the latter half of last year, there were inquiries made against, in terms of a search in the home of civilians who were hired under the same ex-commissioner of police. And you all just had a check back, refer to the previous reports that was made in the Express and then to make the link. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think all investigations, there's a practice and there's a procedure to follow. And what is happening is the process is being followed. And we just have to wait patiently to see what will happen at the outcome. But it raised serious questions about the accountability of the accounting officer, which are the ex-commissioner of police, and the management of that aspect. Because the same report today made reference where persons were issued firearm users license on the same day for multiple ammunitions, right? And also in terms of within the last 10 years, previous 10 years before his purview, that only about a third of those licenses were issued, whereas there has been almost a triple fold under his purview. So he cannot just not take responsibility for that, right? Thanks.
All right.
All right.
I guess it's a question of timing. But we'll never really know how long ago that investigation started. I don't know that we'll know that. You know, as long as they do something about it, you know, because we really can't continue with this level of indiscipline and corruption and all these different things. In small doses, it could be fixed. You know what I mean? We won't get rid of it completely because it's the nature of human beings to seize opportunities and use opportunities to benefit themselves at all levels of society. At all levels of society. You understand? So those are things that all societies battle with. And societies much larger and much more disciplined than ours, they battle with the very same thing. You understand? So I for the people who spell gloom and doom for us, when these things come about, oh, Trinidad gone through, this place ain't no good, this place, it's tiring. We are too indisciplined. If there's one thing that gets me fed up, is that we are too indisciplined. Right? And if we could start fixing that, and that's an individual fix. That is, you have to fix that. No among the laws could fix you. You have to fix yourself. You understand? And we are all challenged to fix ourselves in all the different areas that we live, that we perform, that we exist. We are all challenged to fix ourselves. It's not always easy for some people, you know, but it could be done.
Yeah. I mean, and people need to check the legals too. I always say that, you know, instead of getting a ticket for your blown brake light, because I can check my brake lights now before I leave the office, and everything is fine. And I mash my brakes by Central Bank, and it could blow then.
Yes.
But a lot of people do not check their I mean, when I reverse and there's glass behind me, wherever I am, I always check my reverse lights, brake lights, indicators. Oh, okay, the back light's working, good. Same thing when I pull up somewhere and there's glass in front, you'll see me doing this and that, and, you know, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
But I also believe that you see those little round mirrors, the concave mirrors on your side mirror? Those are the best things out. Because now you take away the blind spot.
Yeah.
You know?
Not all vehicles have them, though. Very few actually.
We can buy them at any car place, you know, car accessory place. We have a call. Good morning.
Well, good morning. When they just said something, that
which is true. The what happens in Trinidad happens all over the world. There's a difference. All over the world, there are different reactions to it. For instance, right now there's a problem with guns and stuff in the Bronx. The Mayor Eric Adams has created a special unit just to go and deal with that. Okay? Whereas you have stuff happening in Trinidad and nothing is being done about it. So you see the murder in the Bronx, a week after they pick up somebody. Understand this, Wendell. It happens all over the world. It's just that Trinidad reaction to it is different. Just like the pepper spray you were speaking about this morning. Okay? It's first world versus third world. So when we say doom and gloom and Trinidad is not a real place, understand what they're trying to say. All the problems you have with the traffic you're speaking about, we have the exact same selfish behavior up here. But there are more laws and more enforcement. Okay, so you're right with that, Wendell, but it's just a different reaction to the problems. Okay?
Yeah. I will agree with you. I will agree with you. Our levels of enforcement is piss poor. And that also delves into our indiscipline, because the people in charge of enforcing, they too are indisciplined. You ever see how some police officers drive? You ever see sometimes you see one lone policeman in a vehicle and he flying through everybody because he driving a marked police vehicle and he can put on a siren and do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
That is unfortunately that is what happens here. But somebody has to take charge. Somebody has to try to fix it. And as I say, you could try to fix yourself first, because you must know you're doing something wrong when you're doing something wrong. You must know that.
Yeah. All right. All right, gentlemen, let's get into our news brief. Evie Hill Bab is in a news brief to 8 o'clock on this May the 4th. All powered by Champlain Auto Services.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.